The very latest on the 4 Trump indictments. Donald Trump, the former president, facing 91 charges in 4 separate jurisdictions. Rick Grinnell still with us on set for more. I want to welcome in, also on set, former Trump attorney Jordan Sekulow. Jordan, great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So, Jordan, a lot of lawyers say former President Trump, he's giving away the game by, doing these interviews. Here's him here's an excerpt from Sunday, and I want to get your thoughts on it.
A new charge suggests you asked a staffer to delete security camera footage so it wouldn't get into the hands of investigators. Did you do that? It's false.
But let me tell you what.
Would you testify to that under oath?
I'll testify.
You testify to that under oath?
We didn't delete anything. Nothing was deleted.
So that's false. The people who testified.
Number one, the statement is false. Much more importantly, when the tapes came, and everybody says this, they weren't deleted. We gave them 100%.
Jordan, I think what a lot of people like about former President Trump is he'll do an interview with anyone.
Yeah.
And he doesn't talk in political talking points. He gives you his real feelings. He's pretty authentic. But do you think this could be maybe hurting him talking about the cases?
I think he's been through this enough to know what to say and what not to say. But he is Donald Trump. He's not managed. He's not going to be managed by his attorneys. He will take advice, obviously, and ask questions. But at the end of the day, that's what makes him Donald Trump. That's what makes him unique to the voters, is that he will talk to them, take an interview like that might be something hardly anyone else would ever do.
Right.
And sit down and actually say, no, I didn't do this.
But his defense attorneys probably don't like that, right?
It can be tough, but you know what? If you work for President Trump, that's part of the job, and it's also part of the magic of President Trump.
Yeah, interesting. How concerned are you, seriously, that one of these judges imposes some kind of limited gag order preventing Trump from talking about these cases, not just in interviews, but also on the campaign trail? And then what if he violates that?
Yeah, very concerned, and then you can litigate those. And I think where you litigate those is under the First Amendment, free speech. He's a political candidate, charges faced against him. Likely, most of these will not be adjudicated before people start voting in January in the caucuses and primaries. So instead, you take that fight. But I do think 1 or 2 judges are going to do it. It just looks like they're right on the edge. They're going to try to say it's narrow.
Right.
But when you're talking about a case, and even one of them, they requested it from Jack Smith, said, not only it's narrow, but it could be about anyone that might be a witness. Well,
right.
Then they're trying to grab you in a contempt charge, talking about someone you have no ideas on may or not be on a witness list.
Yeah, good point. So Jack Smith asked for a speedy trial in both the documents case and the January 6th case. I know it's difficult to keep all this stuff straight. Fani Willis asked for a speedy trial in the Georgia case. And I mean this seriously. Why isn't the Hunter Biden team requesting a speedy trial as well? And do we think that once that does go to trial, if it gets there, are those televised?
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, I mean, so what I think that the Hunter Biden team, they let the plea deal fell apart. And so now they're taking on motions more like the ACLJ. They're suing the IRS.
Right.
And trying to say they shared taxpayer information, trying to shift the story that this should never have been made public. That has nothing to do, though, with the actual case and charges against him. That doesn't negate his crimes and what the prosecutors believe are his crimes. So I think, again, when it comes to Hunter, it's the perfect example of the two-tier system of justice. There's nothing that shows it better than what's happening to the former president and what's happening to the current president's son.
Mr. Ambassador?
Your organization, the American Center for Law and Justice, is starting to defend these attempts to get Trump off the ballot.
Right.
Can you explain what's happening and what you guys are doing? Because this seems very scary to people who are thinking, what, you're not going to put Trump on the ballot? That seems like Pakistani.
Yeah, exactly. Totalitarian style, take them off. Even if you wrote him in for the primary, they would not count that vote. So that's how far it goes. They're targeting the primary. They don't even want to let Republican voters decide who they want to be their nominee.
Is that legal? The write-in?
That's what we're fighting. We're fighting directly right now is we're in Colorado. That case is moving as a normal case. Now, some of these are going to get dismissed, as they should be, very early in the process. But we're dealing with probably about 20 right now. We're engaged in 2. We're probably taking on a 3rd tomorrow. Each state's a little different. But you've got big liberal organizations behind this. But, Rick, it's not just the left. There are a lot of elite Republican lawyers in D.C. who are assisting them in trying to get him removed from the ballot. So this is all about the swamp.
Thank God we got ACLJ.
Yeah, my goodness. The work you guys are doing is fantastic. So Mark Meadows just lost his appeal to get his trial moved from state to federal court. We talked about that last week. Do you expect Trump to get the same treatment? Because all these are not exclusive. These can be treated differently, can't they?
We did a case at the Supreme Court for representing President Trump a few years ago, and it was the issues over does he have to testify at these state levels, DAs, and the answer was no. That the president can always choose to move into the federal system.
Yeah.
Now, so he's got a decision to make. There's precedent now from the Supreme Court. Unlike all the other defendants, he's got that unique position that he was the president. He could go to federal, but right now I think people are kind of liking this state court judge.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So just we're tight now, but the Georgia indictment. So Fannie Willis in Georgia. When you read the indictment, she tossed in some actions that took place after Donald Trump left office. Right. Do you think she did that deliberately so she could then argue that this should remain in state court, thus getting rid of the pardon factor as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think that definitely complicates the issue. Fannie Willis has got, it's not just her, she has a huge team that she's recruited from the outside
to
bring into the DA's office to take down Donald Trump. We've been through it how many times?
Who's funding that?
With Mueller. Yeah, Soros. Certainly. He funds all of these DAs that have gotten elected that are radical and decided, they become weaponized district attorneys against conservatives.
And you make a great point. Hunter Biden all of a sudden going on the offensive against Republicans this week. Fascinating to see how that plays out as well. Jordan, so nice having you in-house. Thanks for breaking that all down.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it. We'll see you in just a little bit. Jordan Sekulow, thank you.